uniform. It's rationalizable. Albert Einstein said in his letters to Solvin, he said the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible. So I'm not making a fine-tuning argument today because we've heard enough of that. Every atheist and every non-atheist has heard this fine-tuning argument. What's this fine-tuning argument? The argument is, look at the constants of nature. Yes? You have these constants which are in a Goldilocks zone of life permitting range. If they were any way this way or that way, they would not, the universe would not exist, and life would not be possible in the universe. Like Martin Rees wrote just 6 numbers, and he says n, which is capital N, a number, talking about, the natural forces. He says it's a billion, 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 billion. And had any zeros been taken away, yes, then that would have been, the universe would have been completely different. E is another letter that he talks about, the conversion of hydrogen into helium. He says that this conversion is 0.007. Had it been 0.006 or 0.008, we would not exist. This is exactly what he writes. It's not what I'm writing. I'm not a cosmologist. Right? That's what he writes. That's an argument from probability. That's an interesting argument. I think the interesting thing is that many people, theists and non-atheists, accept the fine-tuning of the universe. Stephen Hawking accepted it. Richard Dawkins accepted it. So it's not really an area of controversy. My argument is about the uniformity of nature, the coherence of nature, which is presupposed by the universe, by the scientific method. The question is, therefore, on naturalism. On naturalism, how can you account for the coherence of the universe? You can't say, well, the universe just is, like Bertrand Russell said, because that is a circular argument, frankly. It's a cop-out. I'm asking for an external explanation. We're rational people. We should be able to explain. If naturalism has the ability to give us these answers, then surely we should be entitled to such answers. Now, I've got 5 minutes left, and I've made my arguments. To reiterate, my main argument today is the argument from contingency. And it's not one that Leibniz formulated. It's a different kind of argument from contingency that many Western people are not familiar with. It's from our tradition. And frankly, the main question is this. The question is, how can you explain a world, either ontologically or cosmologically, naturally, that only has possible existences? That's the question. If you can prove it, you've cracked the argument. Now, I know I've been watching his videos. He's an incredible speaker. And because he's a lawyer, he's got that charisma that when he starts speaking, I might have to run away, actually. Incredible speaker. But I know, I have a feeling of what he's going to talk about, and I think it's going to be the problem of evil. Right? Now, Epicurus, an old Hellenistic philosopher, he had the logical form of the problem of evil. And the logical form went as follows, that if God is omnipotent and all good, then if he's omnipotent, why does he not stop the evil? If he's all good, then how comes evil exists? The answer to that question is as follows. I'm going to give it to you right now. God is not just those two things, he's also all-wise. So, in order for the problem of evil, from an Islamic traditionalist perspective, to be unlocked or to make sense from a logical perspective, you have to show logically, or naturalistically, or cosmologically, or mathematically, or inductively, or abductively, any way possible. How evil, the existence of evil, contradicts the divine wisdom. That's how it goes. We don't believe in a God with 3 attributes, goodness, or 2 attributes, and omnipotence only. That's not the God we believe in. So we have to show, otherwise it's an emotional argument. Now, the other thing he talks about is the divine hidedness. Why is God hidden from us? Now, we believe in the fitrah as Muslims. The immediate knowledge of God, the intuitive knowledge of God. And by the way, this is a Muslim-specific belief. We believe that we are born believing in God. We have the immediate knowledge of God. And that society strays us away from that knowledge of God. So the Quran, for instance, or the prophets come to reinforce what we already knew primordially, if you like. Primordially, from a psycho-spiritual perspective. So God is not hiding. In fact, He's reminding us. And the Quran says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. If an atheist dies as an atheist, and according to us, if he dies an atheist, he's not heard the message of Islam, he does not go to hell straight away. We can't say this. It's not our belief. So God is not hiding according to us. So these are the two things I'm anticipating He's going to be raising up. So I'm preempting it. And finally, what I want to say, and we'll talk about this, by the way, the fitrah, the immediate knowledge of God, because there is empirical evidence of that. By the way, Justin Barrett has many interesting books on this. He says that there is a divine receptivity to God. And he done, studies with children cross-culturally and found that children naturally believe in God. So atheism on this idea is a social construct. Atheism is a cultural construct. So finally, I want to say that the Quran promises us in chapter number 41 that Allah will show us all the way. In other words, His signs. He says, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. That we will certainly show them our signs in the horizons and in themselves, until it's made patently clear that this is the truth. I hope today we can be as sincere as possible and be open to this. And I hope now that we go back to that question of how there can be only possible existences. I leave it to Edward for the response. Thank you very much.
Is there some other mic I'm supposed to be? Okay. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the Muslim Student Association for putting on this debate, and I want to thank Mohammed for debating me. I will respond to his arguments in my rebuttal, but I will now present my positive arguments for why it is more likely than not that the evidence in our physical universe clearly makes it so that a supernatural, conscious, personal being that is an all-good, all-knowing, and all-powerful deity, the standard issue God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, does not exist. Argument one, the argument that from the way our world operates, it is much more likely that there is nothing beyond the physical. The evidence shows that it is much more likely that the universe is not impacted by any invisible realms or by intentional actions by immaterial beings. The history of scientific discovery has shown that whenever we attributed phenomena to paranormal creatures or gods, further examination showed such beings did not cause what was happening. We learned that lightning is not caused by an angry god or gods, diseases are not caused by evil spirits and by germs, and demonic possession has nothing to do with mental illness. As humanity has gone forward, natural explanations have always evicted previously believed supernatural ones. It has never been the other way around. There's no verifiable evidence of anything supernatural, which there should be if the supernatural existed. Since we have no background information of supernatural beings or events, there is a very low prior probability of them. This means that, for instance, if we were to use Bayes' probability theory, we would be predicting only natural explanations for phenomena. Though we have never seen a quark, we know that the category of subatomic particles do exist. Evidence for the existence of quarks has been steadily increasing. One indication of the soundness of the quark model is its success in predicting the outcome of high-energy collisions of an electron and positron. There are no such equivalent empirically